does be no effect. Thee shalt find it our whereabouts soon.
They were waiting for the king's absence to attack.
Like, why is the Bincho type so large? Does this mean?
It is eminently necessary that you perform Hero Summon.
Oh, we can finally meet him, the lovely and handsome, brave Fencer Musashi.
Princess, please resume your assignment.
Here goes nothing.
Oh, he's here! Our gracious hero, brave Fencer Musashi!
So I know what most of you are thinking. Who? Well, allow me to be the first to introduce you to the world of Brave Fencer Musashi. Made by Squaresoft for the PS1, this game takes place in All-You-Can-Eat Kingdom, which is currently under siege by the Thirst Quencher Empire. In order to protect themselves, the Royal Council and its princess chose to summon the legendary Brave Fencer Musashi, a powerful warrior who once saved the kingdom from destruction in the past. Except they ended up with his reincarnation instead, a pint-sized little turd with a big mouth and an even bigger attitude. Everyone was understandably worried at first, but Musashi proved himself right off the bat to be a very capable savior. And today, being a personal favorite game of mine, I'm here to share with you not only why Musashi and his game are so great, but to show you just how he'd fare if you were to ever enter the ring of Super Smash Bros. So getting right into things, Musashi is a character I see borderlining between middle and lightweight. He'd have two jumps using his L belt to double jump, and he would be able to wall jump and wall cling with the use of his L brace. But before we move on, something I'm going to start trying to be more active about is asking for your feedback. Once you finish the video, tell me in the comments what you thought of the moveset, what you liked about it, disliked, what you would have done differently, and all the such. And if you did like it and would like to see more, be sure to subscribe as well. I'd really appreciate it. Musashi, when entering combat, comes equipped with two incredibly special swords. First is Fusion, a katana given to him by All-You-Can-Eat's alchemist. And second is the legendary Lumina, the Sword of Luminescence, a mystical weapon used by the original Brave Fencer. Musashi dual wields these blades to perform a decent variety of fencing techniques, some self-taught and others learned from allies that he's saved from Thirst Quencher. And since Fusion and Lumina are two different types of swords, some attacks will have different properties depending on which sword he uses for them. Sometimes he'll only use Fusion, which is the weaker but faster blade. Sometimes he'll only use Lumina, the slower but harder hitting blade. And sometimes he'll use both in tandem. For his jab, he'll only use Fusion to perform the Fusion combo. It's a 3-hit attack that starts with a horizontal swing to the right, follows up with a diagonal swing to the left, then ends with another diagonal swing back to the right to launch foes away. His dash attack is another that only uses Fusion. He could perform the Dash Pierce attack, a technique he accidentally picked up when he watched maid Loinette stab a fly with her broom. It's a stinger move, having Musashi stab Fusion straight forward out of his dash to launch away anyone hit by it. Musashi's side tilt can be the first to utilize Lumina, having him slash it forward from high to low. It comes out kind of slow for a side tilt, but it hits deceptively hard and covers a lot of area in front of Musashi, making it difficult to challenge head on. The up tilt is another Lumina technique, one learned from Knight Brisket. Tenderize. This is an automatic multi-hit strike. It starts with Musashi stabbing Lumina straight forward, immediately doing a small leap while swinging Lumina into the air overhead, then ends by slashing Lumina down back the way it came as he lands. Foes hit by either overhead swing will be launched into the air, but if they're hit by that initial stab, things will play out a little differently. They'll take a lot of hits done during the rising slash, then be launched away forward at a high angle by the dropping slash. Using the move like this causes it to deal a lot more damage to opponents, living up to its name to tenderize them like you would a brisket. The down tilt can be a simple sword sweep with fusion, swinging it across the ground to take opponents off guard and pop them into the air, used in conjunction with the 5-second rule to keep both food and foes off the floor. For Musashi's side smash, he could use the Lumina Smash, having him swing Lumina from high to low forward and smash the ground as hard as he can. In his game, this is normally an attack that can only be used as a counter after blocking, but since people seem to think that swordies with counters are worse than Famine, it'll just be his side smash for this moveset. Being a move that starts overhead, it's another that covers a lot of space, with its biggest flaw being how slow it is. But if it does land, it hurts. Lumina smashing into the ground also causes a shockwave, which can hit foes independently from the sword, but this acts as a sour spot. And because of the amount of force Musashi puts behind this attack, it will leave him vulnerable afterward. The up smash can have Musashi use an innovated version of the technique called Desperado, learned from Knight Chunks, who originally created the move on accident. Normally, this is an attack that has Musashi lunge forward while swinging both swords outward. For this moveset, he'll do the same thing, but instead of leaping forward, he'll leap up, doing an overhead double slash with both swords, with the attack starting straight above himself, then covers his sides as he pulls the swords apart. Best thing to compare this to is Greninja's up smash. The idea is very similar. It even has a sweet spot at the start when both swords are stabbed straight up. Unlike Greninja's though, the swords coming apart still hurts. They don't really act as sour spots. But the trade-off there is that Musashi's up smash is a lot less safe than Greninja's. It will leave him wide open if the attack fails to connect, but it covers a lot of area and has great disjoint, so it shouldn't be too hard to use. Then for Musashi's down smash, he could use his first Lumina technique, the Lumina Spin. It's a simple attack where Musashi does a single spin while holding Lumina out low to the ground, swinging it from front to back. It deals a sizable amount of damage, and it launches foes into low angles, and while it covers way less space than the side and up smashes, it is his safest smash attack, having the least amount of end lag compared to the other two. Getting into Musashi's aerials, his neutral air can be the Fusion Flip attack, a move that's normally the true ending strike of the fusion combo, but for this moveset will just be a standalone attack. It has Musashi do a single front flip while holding fusion out, used to launch foes away on hit. Great to get them off of you if you feel pressured. The forward air can be his aerial Lumina swing, where he swings Lumina forward from high to low. Being a Lumina attack, like the others, it is kinda slow, but hits pretty hard, and it covers a lot of area, making it hard to play chicken against, especially while it's being used for edge guarding. The back air can be the only basic attack where Musashi doesn't use either fusion or Lumina, and instead kicks to perform the D-kick attack. He turns to kick both feet straight behind himself. Since his feet aren't swords, it is his shortest ranged move, but it is one of his quickest. The up air can be an aerial version of Crosswise Cut, a fencing technique learned from Knight Lordwick. It starts with Musashi swinging fusion overhead from back to front, then automatically follows it up by swinging Lumina straight overhead into the Z-axis. The hitboxes on this move are kind of weird. If the foes are hit by fusion anywhere except directly overhead, then they'll just be launched straight up. But if they are hit directly overhead, they'll take flinching damage instead, leaving them vulnerable to get hit by Lumina, which deals a ton of extra damage and launch power. It should be noted as well that the launch angle varies on this move. Getting hit only by fusion will tilt the launch angles, going slightly back if behind Musashi and slightly forward if in front of him. But if you're hit by Lumina, you're going straight up. Then for the down air, Musashi can use the most powerful fencing technique, taught to him by Knight Rumperoni, aptly named Rumperoni. This has Musashi dive down with slight forward momentum while stabbing both swords at the front of the dive. This is not a move that can spike, but it will cancel itself if it takes too long for Musashi to hit anything, so he can recover afterwards if he doesn't go too deep. Though it will cancel even sooner if Musashi manages to dive into an opponent, because that'll cause him to bounce off of that opponent, potentially setting himself up for follow-ups. Despite Musashi's petite appearance, he's actually deceptively strong, able to pick up things many times his own size with very little effort. So yes, he's Stitch before Stitch. As such, if Musashi grabs an opponent, he'll flex by holding them over his head, and if he wants to pummel, he'll make them eat dirt. His forward throw can be his usual throw attack, where he simply tosses the foe forward. The back throw can have him use Hurl, where he turns and chucks the foe behind himself. This is his strongest throw, and they're tossed into high angles. The up throw can have him just toss the foe straight up into the air, just like he can also do in the game. And the down throw can have Musashi use Shish Kebab, a technique learned from the court jesters, Clown Weenie, and Acrobat Sausages. It starts with Musashi tossing the foe into the air, but then he holds Lumina up so that the foe falls onto it, literally turning them into a Shish Kebab. But I don't think Musashi's in the mood for weenies, so he slams the foe into the ground to get them off his sword, knocking them away. Something you guys have probably been wondering about for a while now. I mentioned before that both Fusion and Lumina are special, but up to now, all you've seen is Musashi use them like regular swords. Well, I think it's high time we show why these blades are so special as we get into Musashi's special attacks. And for Musashi's neutral special, we'll start with Fusion. I mentioned before that Fusion was given to Musashi by the kingdom's alchemist, and it's not just called Fusion for nothing. Fusion has been forged with the power of assimilation, alchemic magic that allows Musashi to absorb enemies and use their powers as his own. As a matter of fact, the previously mentioned D-Kick and Hurl moves are both that Musashi takes from enemies using Fusion. So you're hearing me right, it's a copy ability. As such, I'm giving Musashi the same gimmick that Kirby has, but the execution to perform it will be different. Activating Neutral Special will have Musashi throw Fusion straight forward. It flies a set distance, and if it doesn't hit anything, it'll boomerang back to Musashi. While Fusion is out of Musashi's hand, he's locked out of using any of his other attacks, even the ones where he only uses Lumina. But there's a balancing reason for this. If Fusion hits an opponent at any point, it'll stick to them, suspending that stuck player in that spot, even if they were in the air. And while Fusion is stabbed into them, they cannot move. It doesn't end there though. Once an opponent is stabbed, the Musashi player will need to start mashing the special button as fast as they can, and if they can do it enough, Fusion will absorb that opponent's power, unstick from them, then fly back to Musashi. At that point, his neutral special will be replaced with the neutral special of the opponent that was assimilated. From there, the same copy rules apply to Musashi as they do for Kirby. He'll use their neutral special identically to that of the original user, with only minor exceptions for characters such as Olimar. And if you ever want to trash the assimilated power, you simply taunt. Now that's the surface level function of the special, but there are a number of notes to go over. For starters, opponents who get stuck by Fusion can mash buttons to escape, but so long as you mash, assimilation should be guaranteed. If you barely mash or don't mash at all, they can escape pretty quickly. Assimilating opponents will also deal minor damage to them, and it pops them into the air after it's successful. Musashi is also able to charge Fusion by holding the button down, then only throw it as soon as you let the button go, but you may only do so on the ground. Charging will increase the range Fusion flies when thrown, and it also decreases the amount of time you need to mash, making assimilation a little easier. While charging, Musashi can slowly walk forward or backward, but he can't turn, and if you jump or dodge, the charging will get cancelled. On top of that, Musashi holds Fusion forward as he charges, allowing him to block all incoming attacks from the front only. And because I know some of you will ask, if Musashi assimilates Kirby, he will get Kirby's Inhale, which can be used to copy other characters if any are present. And if Musashi assimilates another Musashi, then nothing will change. And that's it for Fusion. So for the remaining 3 specials, we move to Lumina and watch as it taps into the power of the 5 scrolls. After the original Musashi saved the world, he sealed these scrolls away so that they wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. And with each one the Musashi of now finds, Lumina gains a whole new power to use. So for the side special, this can have Musashi use the Wind Scroll. This power has Musashi start spinning with Lumina held out, surrounding himself with a high-power vortex of wind. While spinning on the ground, Musashi moves forward and you are able to jump once during it. If in the air, it gives him a small amount of horizontal recovery, but he will drop towards the end of the spinning, and it does make him dizzy. So in other words, it puts him into freefall. Any foe in Musashi's way will be knocked away on contact, and thanks to the wind the move emits, it deals a decent amount of knockback. On top of that, the wind also makes Musashi immune to other wind boxes, and it also gives him a small amount of super armor while spinning, letting Musashi power through weaker attacks. Additionally, you are also able to charge the Wind Scroll's power, and charging it functions identically to how it does when you charge the neutral special. When charged, its damage increases and it travels further. For Musashi's up special, Lumina can tap into the power of the Sky Scroll. Activating this has Lumina enter Sky Mode, where it acts like a jetpack from within the sheath on Musashi's back, lifting him into the air. This is strictly a recovery special. While Lumina is in Sky Mode, if you don't press anything, Musashi will slowly glide down. If you hold the special button down though, it'll have him rise. Holding left or right allows Musashi to rise or glide into those directions. By all accounts, you may keep Lumina in Sky Mode for an indefinite amount of time, but only if you glide. Your ability to rise is limited, and once that short amount of time runs out, Lumina returns to normal and Musashi will go into freefall. Sky Mode can manually be cancelled by air dodging, but this will also put Musashi into freefall afterward. Then lastly, for Musashi's down special, he could use the very first scroll that he comes across, the Earth Scroll. Using this has Musashi leap up, then stab Lumina straight into the ground, causing a shockwave that extends outwards like a dome. Opponents hit by this shockwave will be stunned in place, then be launched after it wears off. The higher their damage was, the longer they'll remain stunned. If the Earth Scroll was used in the air, he'll just fall straight down. Once you do start to drop, you can't stop until you hit something. So using it over the blast zone will mean bad news unless there was an opponent underneath. If Lumina does hit an opponent as Musashi falls, the shockwave will explode off of that opponent on the spot, and Musashi will stop falling as a result. The Earth Scroll is the last move that can be charged, and again, the charge works just like it does for the neutral special and the side special. When charged, the Earth Scroll will deal more damage, and the radius of the shockwave increases. Now, those of you who can do basic math have probably noticed that, despite me saying that there were 5 scrolls, I only talked about 3 of them here. Unfortunately, the remaining 2 scrolls, Water and Fire, were excluded from this moveset. There was just no good place for them. But if you want to get technical, there is a way to pretend like you're using them. If you want Fire, just assimilate Bowser or Charizard. And if you want Water, assimilate Squirtle. They pretty much do the same thing, so problem solved. That aside, Musashi's designed to be a fairly balanced yet versatile character. Even ignoring the options that sprout from copying his opponent's skills, Musashi has many a great option for battle. Don't be afraid to be as headstrong as Musashi himself, and show your foes what it means to be the legendary brave fencer. For Musashi's final smash! After spending his adventure catching and tossing all of the poor Minku of the land, he has incurred the wrath of Mother Minku. Once activated, Musashi hightails it out of there. Then the giant Mother Minku crashes down into the spot where he was standing. For the next 5 seconds, Mother Minku automatically jumps high up into the air and comes crashing down to the ground with its massive weight and huge power. You can hold left or right on the control stick to have Mother Minku move into those directions as she jumps. Any opponent hit by Mother Minku's body will take large amounts of damage as they're launched away. And after the 5 seconds pass, Mother Minku will shrink down and run off, letting Musashi return to the stage. This is a very powerful final smash, but do not let Mother Minku fall off of the stage. If she does, the final smash will end as soon as she enters the blast zone. That said, any foe underneath Mother Minku as she falls are guaranteed to be spiked. So if you want to be that guy, be my guest. For Musashi's colors, his default shows him with his white outfit and large blue hair. And his first alt can be a costume, showing Musashi in the same outfit, except now he's wearing the red legendary armor. Musashi will wear the armor in all of his even-numbered colors and be without it in the odd-numbered ones. The first alternate color without the armor can give Musashi red hair and a violet garb, referencing his rival, quote-unquote, Kojiro. The first alt color with the armor can give Musashi brown hair with a black and beige outfit. This references the design of Musashi from the game's less successful spiritual sequel, Musashi Samurai Legend. The remaining colors can all be original, starting with a blonde design. Here's a green-haired design. Next is a white-haired alt. And lastly, here's a purple-haired design. At the start of matches, we see a Bincho-Tite crystal, which suddenly glows to summon Musashi to the battlefield, just like how he summoned at the beginning of his game. For taunts, his first can have him hold a battle-ready pose with his swords while shouting, "Think you can beat me?" His second shows him shaking his fist forward in a threatening manner while shouting, "You're gonna regret this, pal!" And for his last, Musashi's kind of tired of kicking your butt, so he takes a nap. After a big yawn, Musashi falls over and passes out, and he'll keep snoozing for as long as you want until you move. And while he naps, he actually heals 1% of HP every 5 seconds or so. Not enough to actually mean anything, but it's funny. And finally, for Musashi's victory animations, his first can show him holding Lumina high into the air as it glows, then sheaths it, mimicking when he first obtained Lumina. The second shows him chasing after a Minku, which he successfully catches, then poses while holding both the panicked Minku and the longevity berry that he stole from it over his head. And the final can have Musashi stab Lumina into the ground, causing a huge burst of light. After it fades, all you see is Lumina on screen surrounded by a red crystal. This references the end of the game, when Musashi returns Lumina to its shrine after he saved the world. And that does it for my personal pick. What if Musashi was in Smash? Now please go play this game. It's amazing and I want more people to play it. Please? Anyways, if you enjoyed what you saw and would like to see even more characters be given possible Smash movesets, be sure to subscribe. Also, you should play Brave Fencer Musashi. And if you want to support the show, you can click the join button below the video, the one on my main page, or the link in the description to become a sponsor for my channel. Doing so will get you access to my Discord server, channel emotes, as well as the option to watch these episodes early, on top of so much more. Also, you should play Brave Fencer Musashi. And of course, if you have a character that you want to see be given a possible Smash moveset, leave a comment down below. And while you're at it, feel free to give me any feedback about Musashi's moveset, and be sure to share your own ideas about him as well. I'd love to hear them. So, I hope you all enjoyed, thank you so much for watching, and also, you should play Brave Fencer Musashi!